Someone asked me recently what my thoughts were on dating outside of my social class, and I answered that I would quite literally never do that, and here's why. For the purpose of this question, I took social class to sort of mean like socioeconomic class, so my economic status, maybe around how much money I make, the social status, like perhaps the caliber of school that I went to and the spaces that I found myself in as a result, and the people I found myself surrounded by. And then also like the lifestyle I've created for myself that's a combination of like the economic status and the school and the spaces and all of that. I think you guys get how that fits together. It's important to note that I did not grow up with a lot of money. My father went to prison when I was 4 years old. During that time and all the time after, like my mom has been a public school teacher, so they don't make a lot of money. When we first moved to Atlanta, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 people sharing one bathroom. Like I literally shared the bottom bunk of a bunk bed with my second oldest brother, and then my oldest brother and my sister-in-law were on the top bunk of that bed. Okay, we were not a Jack and Jill family, okay? Money was not, we didn't have a lot of it. So knowing my circumstances, when I was like 12 years old, I made this vision board for myself. My mom actually found recently in her storage unit. I had basically carved out my entire life, like what I was gonna do in high school to make sure I could get into an Ivy League college, and what I was gonna do at that college to make sure I could get into a certain law school or buy a certain car and have a certain apartment or home. Like all of these things I had planned out, and I knew that because my family didn't have the same financial resources someone else's did or access to certain people to get me into doors, I had to open them myself. So that's what I did. I created an insane amount of opportunities for myself by literally putting my blood, sweat, and tears into everything I did. From the time that I was 12 years old until now, like 23, I was so intentional about every decision I made, whether it was not dating in high school or not drinking or prioritizing school or trying to get different scholarships. I did everything in my power to make sure that the life I was creating for myself while I was kind of stepping into the autonomy that I would have as a young adult, even as a teenager going into a young adult, being able to create the life I want to, that I was doing everything in my power to have something different than what I had growing up. And of course, I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to stay up all night applying to scholarships to earn over $500,000 to go to college. I didn't have to apply to Columbia and do all the things that is required to get into a school like that. But I wanted to because I wanted to have a certain life. Even when it comes to content, when I started making content, I was taking 19 credit hours. I was working 3 days a week in office at my internship, but then I was also working with a tech startup virtually, and then I also started doing content, and it was probably one of the hardest times in my life, but again, I knew that I wanted to set myself up for greatness, and that is what was required. So knowing that, understanding how much work I put into the person that I wanted to be and the life I wanted to have feels so unfair to me now, and also to my younger self who was just so forward thinking and like put so many things on the back burner to prioritize the life that I would have right now. For me to date someone who cannot give me the life that I've always wanted, like they can't match it. I don't even need you to give it to me because I've already gotten it for myself, but if you can't be right there with me, it's not fair to me to lower my standards or accept certain things that I knew I never wanted to, which is why I work so hard on myself just so that I can be with you. And it is not lost on me the fact that a lot of guys my age are just not gonna have what I have, because I'm in a very unique position to make an insane amount of money for someone my age. And that's where the other part of the socioeconomic status comes in. I need to at least see that you have worked as hard as I have to put yourself into certain spaces, to open up certain doors for yourself, to go to certain schools or whatever it is, because you have this intrinsic ambition and drive, because you know that you also have your eyes set on the sort of lifestyle that I do, and that is what you're actively working towards every day. Not having that does not make you a bum. It doesn't make you undesirable. It doesn't make you an unattractive man or anything. It just makes you incompatible with me and the lifestyle that I want to have. I appreciate the drive that I have and the confidence that has been instilled in me because of all the things I've been able to do for myself, and I really appreciate that in other potential partners as well. So if I'm really considering like seriously dating someone, not just like a casual date, whatever, this is something that is a requirement for me. It's not like oh, I hope, or maybe I will. I've tried it before. I'm not doing it. This is what I require, and I don't think it's a lot to ask. Shit, I asked it of myself at 12, and look at where I am.